Right Dharma and evil Dharma. Nguyen Van Khai asked the Tao, "Dear Master Tan Tien, I am so confused. I am so bewildered. For so long, for you Mahayana venerables, you have been respected and honored by everyone as the true Dharma. Meanwhile, the teacher rejected them, saying that they were evil teachers, meaning evil magic. So we respectfully ask the teacher to explain so that we can understand clearly. Sincerely grateful to the teacher." Reply 1. Nguyen Van Khai. I am very touched. When you don't know, you ask. When you ask, I am ready to explain clearly to you. Because you have been brainwashed by Mahayana for a long time. Therefore, when encountering the strange Dharma, it is natural that you will be bewildered and bewildered. As a teacher, I must write down the truth and explain it clearly so that those who want to learn can understand it thoroughly. 2. As human beings, no one is perfect. Therefore, people must know how to use their brains to learn and progress, to build a better life for themselves and society. In the past, humans were the weakest animals in the world. An ant or a mosquito was more than enough to send a human to the afterlife. Luckily for humans, thanks to our ancestors who taught us how to read, write, and learn science. Therefore, humans progressed and became intelligent and powerful animals, exploring the universe and mastering all species. For those who only know how to eat, sleep and make love, do not want to learn, and yet use their ignorance to oppose their teachers, the elders call them human head, pig brains. Master Thong Lac teaches wisdom to mankind, preaching the original teachings of Buddha, but those who are ignorant and refuse to learn, curse and oppose him, are the type of human head, pig brains. Those who only know how to eat, sleep, make love and refuse to learn to progress, are clearly pig-brained. A pencil always has an eraser. This shows us that if people want to progress and become civilized, they need to erase mistakes and replace them with good truths that are useful for our lives and human society. This is a valuable philosophical lesson. Everyone makes mistakes, knowing and correcting them is what is valuable. 3. What is practicing according to Buddha Shakyamuni? After Prince Siddhartha attained enlightenment and discovered the truth of the Four Noble Truths, he taught his disciples to practice. Practicing according to Buddha Shakyamuni is A. Each person knows that his life is temporary in this world, full of suffering, birth, aging, sickness, death and endless reincarnation. The noble truth of suffering. B. The cause of our life of suffering, birth, aging, sickness, and death is due to greed for fame, wealth, beauty, food, and sleep. And from greed, we create thought, greed, anger, ignorance, pride, and doubt. The noble truth of the origin of suffering. C. If we want to master birth, aging, sickness, and death and free our lives from suffering, we must eliminate desire. If we want to eliminate desire, we must reduce greed. If we want to reduce greed, we must practice to reduce our own greed to a minimum. If we want to reduce greed to the minimum level, we must practice to master our stomach. Because our stomach is the seed, the cause that pushes us to become slaves to material things. In order to satisfy greed for our body and mind, the truth of cessation. D. If we want to practice to achieve the desired results, that is, to master birth, aging, sickness, and death on our body and mind and free our life from suffering, Buddha has given us the methods of practice that have been proven by those who have attained arahantship. They have recorded them all in the Nikaya Sutras. If we practice the Buddha's teachings correctly and bring one Buddha's teachings into our hearts, we will attain the results. The truth of the path, or the truth of the Dharma. Through the Four Noble Truths, suffering, origin, cessation, and path, or Dharma, the Buddha clearly taught that we practice for our own lives. And we practice on ourselves, and we conquer ourselves to master greed. In order to eliminate the desire in our body and mind, the first thing is that we must focus our mind on our body and mind and only know ourselves. If we focus outward, on others, on the common people, we have strayed into the six senses, and are dragged by the six senses to enjoy worldly blessings. don't become a monk. It's useless. So, chanting sutras, knocking wooden fish, and praying to imaginary gods clearly shows that our mind is turned outward, and we are practicing the wrong Dharma of Buddha, which is an evil Dharma, right? Because when we practice for ourselves, we purify our own body and mind. We do not practice, but instead seek help from some random and meaningless deity. It is clearly an evil practice, so why bother making excuses? The act of begging and pleading with others to help you practice your life is clearly stupid and wrong. Begging and praying are inherently vile and lacking in the ability to practice, right? Suppose that God, Buddha, and spirits help us, what will happen? We will be dependent on them. This has already confirmed that our actions are stupid and unrighteous, right? Moreover, the story of gods helping us is not real. If it were real, they would help all those who pray to attain enlightenment. Why would they pray and beg for decades, climb to the rank of a great master, great path, and then groan in pain and end up in the hospital? And for over 2,500 years, monks and nuns practicing Mahayana have revealed their true nature as greater and greater greed. All monks, nuns, and monks of Mahayana have joined together to enjoy worldly blessings, deceiving the common people to enjoy the stinking bait of fame and profit. This clearly shows that they are evil teachers, evil magic. If they are evil teachers, evil magic, then there is no righteousness. Right Dharma, right? To make it easier to understand, at school, students don't focus on studying. All day long they run after teachers to flatter them, kneeling and begging for grades. Teachers will consider this type of student as despicable, right? Living without practicing, only knowing how to knock on wooden fish, chant sutras, and call out to beg for favors. Even children can do these things. Why do you need to be a senior monk, with unfathomable depth? If there really are gods, Buddhas, and spirits, then let's think, as gods, Buddhas, and spirits, would they accept people who only know how to pray and beg? If we assume that heaven, Buddha, or gods accept their prayers, then these kinds of heavens, Buddhas, or gods are not worthy of our worship. Not only that, we would also despise and spit on them, right? So, it's so clear, there is no such thing as heaven, Buddha, or gods. It's all just using hypocrisy to deceive each other. Honestly. Before knowing the true Dharma, living in evil Dharma, wandering around in the dark forest of superstition, everyone is the same. They all misunderstand and respect Mahayana monks and nuns as noble, great, and worthy of respect. When they know the true Dharma, it is shameful for them, and shameful for their own stupidity, isn't it? Shame on the monks and nuns, they are deceived into becoming slaves to the bait of fame and profit, but the intelligent monks and nuns do not know anything. Generation after generation of monks and nuns are enslaved to material things, and live in the stinking bait of fame and profit. From one generation to another, from this life to the next, without knowing, no one knows. Shame on us, dear Buddhists who respect Buddha. Many Buddhists, they are highly talented and learned people. Doctors, masters, famous names, powerful and imposing in society. Having been deceived for so long, we still think that we have contributed continuously, from generation to generation, to serve and promote false truth, worship fake things. Crazy and don't know anything. Even more tactless. The monk preached the Dharma non-stop, and there were peddlers clapping their hands loudly, making the whole hall noisy, drawing everyone into joy, just like political presentations and seminars. Buddhists no longer have the opportunity to have right views and right thinking. The Buddha taught us to practice. Everyone was immersed in reading the sutras, their voices deep and high, humming loudly the prayers, begging the gods and Buddhas to bless them with illusory blessings, prosperity, longevity, immersed in the dark and hazy incense smoke, blending with the rhythm of life that was all illusion. Vague and far away, and that was happiness. What an unexpected shame. When I become a monk, I fight and conquer my own desires. Why do I have to wait for permission from the government to become a monk? So, it is clear that Mahayana monks become monks, to become monks for the government? That means they become monks to have the right to political activities. There is no longer any meaning of becoming monks to refine our lives to be better, to master birth, aging, sickness, death, and to free our lives from suffering. Clearly this is an evil dharma, right? 4. So what is the dharma? Arahant Thich Thong Lac expounded the original teachings of Buddha, and teacher Thong Tien expressed them clearly for everyone to understand. We practice and purify ourselves. We must overcome the greed of our hearts. If we want to eliminate desire, we must reduce our greed. Lust is caused by our stomach. Therefore, we must master our stomach. To master our stomach, we must eat 1 vegetarian meal a day. When we are proficient at eating 1 meal a day, other desires will gradually subside. Especially sexual desire, which is very attractive to our daily life. By eating 1 meal a day, just enough to nourish our body, we will no longer be stimulated by sexual desires. If we no longer desire sexual desire, then we do not need other desires anymore. The most difficult is the desire to sleep. But now, we are happy and enjoy practicing, so the desire to sleep gradually decreases easily. In addition, greed increases because our 6 senses are seduced and pulled by the 6 sense objects. The pulling and pulling of the 6 sense objects is extremely powerful, and urges us continuously, as strong as a waterfall pouring down from above. Buddha called it the stream of greed, stream. Therefore, to avoid the lure of greed, we need to live alone, so that we are no longer seduced by the 6 senses, luring our 6 senses into chasing after the stinking bait of fame and profit. In short, if you want to practice the Dharma, first, we must live alone. Next, we eat 1 meal a day, have no money, and have to accept living the poorest, most miserable life on earth. If you have done that, then think about becoming a monk. If you have not yet fulfilled the basic life, then do not become a monk. It is just a waste of time. The Dharma is so simple, so clear, isn't it? The question is, can we overcome our own greed? If we can overcome our greed, then we are clearly on the path to mastering birth, aging, sickness, and death, and freeing our lives from suffering, right in this life, without having to practice for countless lifetimes. 5. Buddha has no sutras. When Buddha taught the Dharma, Buddha did not allow writing because writing is against the principle. Because, writing is to develop knowledge. Just like in school, knowledge is to be trained for people. Meanwhile, on the contrary, practicing according to Buddha Shakyamuni does not use knowledge, because practicing according to Buddha's Dharma develops liberating knowledge, also known as wisdom, and this type of understanding is opposite to worldly knowledge. Therefore, if there is knowledge, there is no liberating view, or if there is liberating view, there is no knowledge. Meaning, learning in human social life to progress and develop worldly life is to cultivate knowledge, ignorance. Those who want to practice the Buddha's Dharma correctly must eliminate knowledge so that liberational knowledge can develop, in order to practice and attain the results of precepts, concentration, wisdom, enlightenment. If there is ignorance, there is no enlightenment. This is the principle. So, Buddha has no sutras. All Mahayana sutras are false sutras. If they are false sutras, they are false dharma, or evil dharma. So, those who practice evil dharma are evil teachers. Right? 6. Mahayana scriptures are fake scriptures. Why do they sound so good and attractive when read aloud? Yes, very attractive, very reasonable, very thrilling. Thanks to the attractiveness, the excitement, the logic like a novel, it lures the practitioner's 6 senses to be infatuated and fall into the maze of practice, pushing the practitioner to sink into the stinking bait of fame and profit. It's obvious, isn't it? If we practice to enjoy the stinking bait of fame and profit, practice without being able to control birth, aging, sickness, death, and free ourselves from suffering, then why waste our lives practicing and studying? 7. As a Buddhist monk, why do I feel so secure and happy when I read it? Yes. Reading the sutras gives the feeling of joy and happiness. But there is absolutely no peace of mind. Buddhists must distinguish that joy, happiness, and peace of mind, or peace of mind, are two different actions. 8. So, are the Nikayas not Buddhist scriptures? Yes. The Nikayas are not Buddhist scriptures. When Buddha left this world, the Arahants thought of future generations. The Nikaya Sutras were written by more than 500 of Buddha's disciples, who used Buddha's teachings to practice and attain arahantship. They recorded them for future generations to study and practice. Each of them recorded the words that the Buddha taught to each of them, and they used the Dharma that the Buddha taught, practiced, and attained the truth. To put it more clearly, these dharmas were proven through the successful practice that each of the Buddha's disciples completed. Important thing to know, Buddha taught each arahant a dharma, and only by cultivating that dharma into one's mind can one attain arahantship. Therefore, Buddha taught that, if anyone relies on my physical form and calls out to me for something, he will not meet Tathagata. Anyone who practices the dharma I have entered into his mind will meet the Tathagata, that is, attain the fruit. There is only one dharma. Whatever dharma suits your characteristics, you should use it. For example, the method of 4 foundations of mindfulness is suitable for the characteristics of Master Thong Lac. He used that method to practice diligently for 6 months. When the method of 4 foundations of mindfulness entered his mind, he attained the fruit of Arahant. How pitiful for those who are ignorant. They see Master Thong Lac using the method of 4 foundations of mindfulness to practice and attain fruition, so they mistakenly think that anyone who uses the method of 4 foundations of mindfulness can also practice and attain fruition. If the Buddha's Dharma does not suit one's own characteristics, then one will never be able to practice and attain the truth. Therefore, Mr. Tan Tien explained that when the Buddha transmitted the Dharma, the Buddha clearly knew the characteristics of each person, and he gave them the Dharma that was suitable for that person. Once they diligently practiced and brought the Buddha's Dharma into their hearts, they immediately attained enlightenment. For people today, no one knows their own characteristics, even if they attain arahantship. Therefore, to know their own characteristics in order to choose a Dharma, the Buddha taught the Arahants, recorded in the Nikaya Sutra, that we can only choose one Dharma, and diligently practice so that Dharma enters our mind, and we will attain immediate fruition. To choose the Buddha Dharma for yourself, Master Tan Tien teaches that you need to use right intention. Practice the 6 basic methods to have the ability to choose a Dharma for yourself, when you decide to enter the holy lineage. To practice, if we are lucky, the Dharma of clear concentration enters our mind. Then we will immediately attain enlightenment. Remember, the 6 basic dharmas do not enter our mind to attain enlightenment. They are just training the basic foundation so that we have the ability to practice. If we do not practice the 6 basic dharmas, then our practice becomes dreamy, unrealistic, and useless. The 6 dharmas cannot enter our mind. If we are lucky enough to have a dharma that is suitable for us and enters our mind, then we will attain enlightenment. 9. Science serving humanity. Nowadays, science develops to serve humanity, develops more and more advancedly, satisfying our greed. I feel that my life is too happy. I fall into a situation of such sweetness. My body is satisfied, I am ecstatic. I am satisfied, I am happy. I am greedy for fame, wealth, beauty, food, sleep, I enjoy worldly pleasures. My thoughts, greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, and doubt grow to the extreme. Now, how can we escape to practice and master our stomach? We are like flies, our feet are stuck to honey. If we stop, we will sink into the stinking bait of fame and profit. If we move forward, we will be dragged into the trap of fame and profit by the current of greed. If you want to overcome, you must practice. But how to practice? When we are swimming and diving with pleasure, filled with worldly desires, our 6 senses are pulled by the 6 objects. My eyes are captivated by the beauty of the universe and the beauty of the earth. Our ears forever hear sweet, lively sounds, urging our hearts. My mouth tastes strong wine mixed with delicious food, sweet to the bottom of my heart. Not enough sleep at night, we sleep more during the day. Radio, TV, and the arts are bustling, echoing with endless calls. Oh my! What a joy! Although our consciousness knows clearly that our life is temporary, our imagination makes us intoxicated, immersed in the pleasures of the world. How can we practice? 10. To help those who are aware and determined to escape the flow of greed, thanks to the teachings of Arahant Thich Thong Lac, Master Tan Tien practiced the Buddha's teachings correctly and achieved success. Now, Master Tan Tien shares it with practitioners, so that from their practitioners can practice daily like doing aerobic exercises. At first, practice for a short time to get used to it. Once you get used to it, gradually increase the time. When the time for practice increases, taking up all of our life, then that is the opportunity, the fate has come, the wonderful full luggage for us to enter the holy stream of practice, in order to progress to master birth, aging, sickness, death and liberate our life from suffering, in comfort, peace, and constant diligence. The most gentle, leisurely, and wonderful practice in the world. 11. The important thing we need to understand clearly is, we become monks to end our worldly debts of karma. So, we need to live the poorest life in the world. It's not that we have to pay off all our debts before becoming a monk. How long does it take to pay off debt? When one debt is gone, another debt comes, and until we die, the debt still clings to our body and mind. Want to know how to practice? It's easy, but not many adults can practice. And children absolutely cannot practice. Unlike practicing evil methods, children in grade 5 can practice. Because, the practitioner must overcome greed, must cut off the bondage of love, must eat vegetarian food once a day and must live alone, without money, living alone in solitude, not talking to anyone. Obviously, only those who are conscious and determined can practice. Only then will that person be worthy of being a saint, making everyone respect and worship him. Right? Please visit Master Tan Tien's website, thaytikkatituhan.net, to refer to the Dharma practice lessons that Master Tan Tien has painstakingly recorded for posterity, and slowly study them to understand the reasons. At the same time, the practitioner only believes in Arahant Thich Thong Lac. Read his scriptures to understand the Dharma and practice diligently, then you will attain the truth in this life, without having to wait until the next life.